Episode 40. 40. This hand? This hand. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Couch Show, the 40th episode of The Couch Show. And welcome back to the channel, Sibling Rivalry.
Of the Couch Show, the 40th episode of the Couch Show.
All right. The audio sounds good. Let
Okay.
me make sure I'm sounding good. Test,
The
test,
Couch
test.
Show, the 40th episode of the
You can hear that. You're picking up the feedback, right?
The audio
Yeah.
sounds good. Let me make sure I'm sounding good.
All right, I'm sounding good. You sounding good. I want to go ahead and mute this so we don't keep going in a weird time loop.
Yeah.
The vortex.
All right, so welcome to the channel,
Into
Sibling
a
Rivalry.
multiverse.
I'm Lynn.
I'm Ray, and welcome back. Lovely Tuesday. As you can see, it's nice and sunny. Is it sunny over you? It kind of looks
It's
cloudy
sunny.
now. Like the clouds just
It's
came in.
cloudy. Yeah, it's nice. Like, if I move out of the way, you'll probably see the sky.
That'd be funny. It just starts downpouring on her as we're doing the show. A nice downpour.
That'd be beautiful. Rain is. All right. So if you're new
All
to the
right,
channel,
so-
again, that's Ray. I'm Lynn, and
I'm Ray.
we're siblings, and we're givers. We're givers of love, givers of good vibes, and givers of strength through communication, through conversation.
However, we are going to have the conversations that need to be had in society. We need to start, we need to address this lunacy that's happening in society. We're going to do it in a positive way, but we got to have those conversations. Some of you guys I know are checking out because it's a conversation you don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay to have different sides and listen to the other side and have good discourse. You know, maybe you walk away. You may not change your mind, but at least you walk away to be a little more open-minded to what other people are saying, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to, save society with positivity.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And
All right.
one of the wisest things you could do is listen to somebody else's opinion and not, and not be not convinced, but not, waver from your beliefs.
Right.
That's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to get you guys to be like, oh my God, let's blindly follow Lynn and Ray. Let's, believe everything they say.
Oh, no. If anything, I want the opposite. I want either you love it or you hate it, whatever it may be, but I want you to think. That's it.
Mhm.
I want you to walk away with the conversation that we had and just be like, that was interesting.
Yeah.
I may not agree with it, and you could just be angry with me all day. That's fine, but at least it stirred something in you and you're thinking, right? You're not going with the flow. And that's where a lot of people are going with the flow, and they're unhappy. There's a lot of people unhappy. They're like, oh, I did what society told me to do, and I'm still unhappy. Maybe because you need to start thinking outside the box, you know? So, let's do a little maintenance.
I'm sitting at a park right now, and like the kind of table that the phone is leaning on, it has like a bunch of little holes.
Mhm.
Like the design, like the imprint in it has like a bunch of holes. And staring at the screen right now, it's almost creating like a vortex, and it's really weird. I'm like, oh, I have to break this up.
So let's
Sounds
do a
like
little
my
homework.
bag
Let's
is
talk
it.
about why are we late today? Man, we're an hour late.
We are. We're an hour late. Hey, Fuzz, welcome. Happy Tuesday. So we're an hour late because I needed some self-care real quick. Like I was ready to jump on and I just felt really ill prepared and I felt really just low on energy and I needed to eat something. Even though I already ate something, but I ate something at like 7 a.m. So it kind of like hit me again. I was like, damn, I need something to eat. So then I came out to a park and I grabbed a bite and I'm ready to go on now. Here we are.
That's good though.
And,
That's
it's
good that
it's
you
so
were able
important that we
to,
pay attention to our bodies, pay attention to our minds, and like just decide like what
No.
your body needs.
Right, and that's cool that you were able to acknowledge that and say, hey, you know what? I need a little self-care right now. And you were able to,
Mhm.
and that's another thing. Like a lot of people, they don't understand the power of nature. And I think there was a study that was recently released that said people do find, people who are in nature and actually go out in nature more are a lot more happier.
Hmm.
And it's like there is a connection. I know you guys laugh at me all the time, but there's a connection with the planet and nature, and everything is living. We're all energy, right? The earth has energy, we have energy, and you
Yes.
could give and take. You know, it's like as man, and I say that as human nature, as man. And I'm not trying to be sexist
Mhm.
or anything. You know, as man, we forget our connection with the rest of the planet, right? We
Yes.
forget that we need to have a bond with the planet. So it's kind
It's
of cool
just,
that
it's
you were
so
able to recharge
energizing.
yourself.
Especially in the spring, it's so energizing to feel like the heat from the sun. In the
Mm-hmm.
wintertime, we try and spend the least amount of time outside as possible, at least for us, like up here in the Northeast, because it gets cold. So you kind of like run to your car and you run into the building, and it's very quick. Like the sun starts warming you up again in the
Right.
spring. It's a brand new feeling. It energizes you.
I'm glad you said that because the last 2 years we've been told, trust the science, trust the doctors, for a certain thing out
Hmm.
there. Yet it's funny because fast forward 2 years from 2 years later, doctors are coming out saying, hey, if you take vitamin D, it will help your chances with Kofifi. And it's like, no
Hmm.
shit, it will help your chances. When you don't feel good, step outside, embrace the air, take in the sun, go for a walk. This is all the stuff that we said. Like they never mentioned, hey, keep working out, keep taking your vitamins, eat right, right?
Hmm.
They never mentioned any of that shit. And it's like it's crazy because it's like it's a common sense thing. It's like if you don't feel good, step outside, embrace that sun. That sun will recharge you. It's funny that now, oh, you need a doctor to tell you, hey, grab some sun, grab some vitamin D. It's like people are
Right.
so, oh my God. People can't think for themselves, and that's all I want to do. I just want to knock people on the head. First, I want to spark people with happiness, and I want to knock them over the head with some common sense. Like, oh, come on, let's wake the freak up, man. Let's start thinking for ourselves. Buzz, how's your day going? I hope it's going good. We're gonna talk about Brooklyn in a little bit, but I hope everything's going good, Fuzz. I hope you stayed safe. No crazy shootings over the weekend.
So we're to
You good?
and out into get out into nature. You know, um, reconnect with the sun. But
Mm-hmm.
my allergies are kicking my butt this season.
Oh, me too.
My eyes
Me
are
too.
itchy. Like I feel it in my nose, in the back of my
Mm-hmm.
throat. Oh,
Oh, me too.
it
And
just
for
comes in
me,
bouts. Like it's
when
not
I
like
get
all
my
the time. Like when it hits me, it's just like, oh, I want to scratch everywhere and I can't reach.
yeah, yeah, my allergies is bad. I'm nonstop sneezing. I hate it because I'm just like
Mm,
like just nonstop sneezing.
yeah.
I was like that earlier because when I opened my door, right, and I was waiting here because I was sitting just watching videos, and um yeah, it was just hitting me. I was like, damn, allergies. I just had that I just gotta make some tea with honey. That's it.
I
Start
had
fighting
some
my
tea last night.
allergies.
Um, which is kind of cool. I noticed too. Like my daughter, she's 12. Um,
Hmm.
she wasn't feeling well last night. She was like, "Hey, like I have like something like coming on." She was like, "Can you make me something warm to drink?" I'm like, "Yeah, baby, I'll make you some tea." And it was just kind of cool that she already like knows that she has that wisdom that like, "Hey, I feel something coming on. Let me get something warm in my body."
Hmm. So let me ask you this, because we didn't have no time to do the pre-show. Like we just
Right?
jumped on the link and then we went live. So I sent you a 2-hour video. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't.
No. No, but then you'll sit here and complain, oh, I'm losing motivation on this show.
Hmm.
But I sent you homework that said, look at the potential that we can be.
Hmm.
Look, they're having the same conversation we're saying. The 2-hour video I sent you from beginning to end, they pretty much said the things we've been saying on this show.
Hmm.
And I'm like, we need to step up. We need to get to this level. And I was like, look, here's a prime example. They had 30,000 concurrent viewers when they were live. They got 1 million subs on their channel. They're getting like 3K a
Hmm.
night on super chats and all the all the
Yeah.
all the donations and all the pay. So like me, once again, I'm motivated because I want to help people. But I get it. I need my co-host. I need you on this show, and I'm sending you content, and you didn't do your homework.
Wow, I feel like
Wah, wah.
wow. You sent
Yeah,
me the link and I
yeah.
did check it out. You sent me the link and I did
Mm-hmm.
check it out. Typically when you tell me, oh, watch this or like look into this, you you then turn around and knock me for actually watching it. You're like, oh, you didn't have to watch the whole thing. You just have to watch a couple minutes so you can see what I'm talking about. So that's exactly what I did. You know, I took a look at it. I saw what they were doing. I even looked at their channel. I clicked in and like I looked at their channel. So I did do my homework. Thank you.
So
And
there's
it's
a
kind of like
channel.
inspirational because it feels like, yeah, we can be like that. And I feel like that's kind of what we're going for. I just feel like,
Mhm.
you know, like we need to decide like a direction so we can have topics. That's my only thing is we don't have topics.
I think we do have. Look, the topics could be anything we want to talk about. At this
Hmm.
point with the show, you got to understand, like, we're gonna have opinions, and either certain people are gonna, they're gonna agree with our opinions, or they're not gonna agree with our opinions, right?
Hmm.
But once again, if we're getting free thinkers on this show, that's okay. I just want people to think. Whatever topic we bring up, like today, we're talking about cults, and there's a lot of topics that we could break down on those cults, right? There's a lot of things that we're gonna break
Yeah.
down on today's show. And then the question is, are you in a cult? Because let's take it back. Let's take it a step back. Because you sent me the text this morning. You were like, "Hey, what we're talking about?" And I was like, "I have no idea." That's really what I woke up. Because you sent
Right.
me the text like early this morning. And I woke up and I'm just like crud in my eye, and I'm like, I don't have no idea. I was like, I don't know. I really don't know. But then I started seeing what's been trending at least for over the weekend, and the one of the things Fuss said, not only you need to have topics, you need to make 10 videos on that topic.
Mm-hmm.
Correct, Fuzz. And that's another thing that we got to address because that one channel that I said in the clip, not only do they do the live show, they also clip up the live show and they
Hmm.
sent like tidbits of those live show. So what you're doing is you're kind of like fishing, like you're sending out these little baits, and somebody will click on the link for that 5 minute episode, and then it kind of leaves them on a cliffhanger. So they're coming in like somewhere 5 minutes anywhere in that 2 hour show, right? And they're watching that 5 minute clip, they're getting hooked, and then after that, you're like, hey, if you enjoy the content, please check out our live show. And so
Hmm.
that's how you're hooking them in. Because a 2 hour show, a lot of people are just gonna be like, I don't want to watch that for 2 hours. That's how most people
Yeah.
are. But they'll watch something for 5 minutes. So it's like that's another thing that we got to start talking about as far as like chopping up and editing videos and doing all that stuff. But really, the whole point of that 2 hour video was like, look, they're talking about the same thing we're talking about. We're on the right path. We just got to
Hmm.
clean it up, right? Because if you could see like their level of not professionalism, but their level of you know, I don't even know how to say it. Like they have a studio and they have better cameras and mics and all that stuff like that. Like we're not at that level. We got to get there.
Hmm.
Plus, you need to be an expert on the algorithm. I totally agree, Fuzz, and that's another reason why I sent the video to Lynn so that she can understand like the SEO and understand what they're tagging and what they're talking about. So there was a lot of stuff, but I wanted to see the reason why I sent it to her was because I have motivation. Lynn is the one that's losing motivation, and I'm like,
Hmm.
don't lose the motivation because we're having the conversations we need to have. So that's why I sent the video. But going back to the topic, as far as are you in a cult and like what we were going to talk about, and I guess we could dive into it because it's been 13 minutes so far. So you sent me this. You're like, what are we talking about this morning? I'm like, I have no idea, right? I was like, I don't know. But then I started thinking about what's been happening around me, right? Stories popping up, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing through the news, through the channels I'm watching, and all that. And the big prevalent thing, you know, that you see all around is that it's June, and now June is notorious for being Pride Month, right?
Hmm.
So the first thing I said was like, let's talk about Pride, right? And then I was like, oh, I don't want to seem like one that I'm hammering on, the alphabet community because I can't keep up with all the acronyms and all the letters that's on there. I'm just gonna say the alphabet community, or I don't want to feel like I'm coming because I'm not. If anything, I have a best friend who's openly gay, and I stand by him. What I
Right.
don't stand by is the sense that it's evolved to a cult. And I'm going to call it, it's evolved to a cult. And so that started going down the road of all the other cults that we should start talking about, which the news will want you to believe the cult of movies. Yes, I'm in a cult too. I'm in that one. I'm in the video game cult. Listen, we could go down all the cults, but the main cult that you're hearing right now, that everybody, that the news is only reflecting, right. And once again, the news is heavily left leaning. The only thing they talk about is what? MAGA, right?
Mm-hmm.
That red hat cult, right? And now it's like, oh my God, this is the worst terrorist organization in the United States ever, right? And they talk about the MAGA cult, and I'm like, well, I don't really hear people like, yeah, all right, there are. Don't get me wrong, there are people that are cultish when it comes to being a Republican, being alt right, and being MAGA or whatever the hell you want to call it. But I don't think they're as prevalent or as as much as the other cults that are now mainstream,
Mm-hmm.
right? For you to question Pride Month or Pride right now, you sound like you're an evil person, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at these stories that are coming out, and you're like, man, that's crazy. And we'll go through some of the
You gotta
stories,
explain.
but I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you
let
gotta
you.
explain yourself more because I don't really understand. I'm not following you.
No, we'll go through the stories. We'll go through the stories. I just said a lot right now, so I wanted to just go ahead and see if you had any feedback or anything you want to talk to. You hit too many landmines when
Oh,
you talk
hang on.
about
Let
the
me bring
alphabet
this up.
community. I agree. I agree. And I think that's what we got to step
Mm-hmm.
around those landmines, because once again, that's a heavy loaded attack, right? When I say something like that, I sound like the evil person, because I'm like, how can you not be talking about equality for someone's sexual preference? First off,
Mm-hmm.
it's their sexual preference. I don't really care what people do in their bedroom, and I really don't think that should be out front and center. I think that should be something that's private, and I think that should be kept out of the limelight. But it is front and center, and it's like, if it's something that, like, you don't see people talking about straight pride, right? You don't see the marches for straight pride, which most people, me, you, everybody here, we're all born by a man and a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how we're all here. That's how we're brought into life. So it's a necessity. But yeah, we don't see, parades for straight pride. We don't see straight pride month. We don't see any of that. The same way we don't see any kind of like white pride or white month or whatever. I get it. However, once again, I think they took it to another level where it's now not just, hey, I'm this, accept me for who I am. I'm openly gay. I'm an open lesbian, whatever it may be, right? It's something more, and we'll talk about that. But I'm, like I said, I'm unloading a lot right now. Fuzz even said I'm unloading a lot. I wanted you to get your gears
Mm-hmm.
turning so we can have this conversation today. This is just the start of it. I have examples, and we could talk about it.
All right. Well, I mean, definitely when you sent me the topic, the first thing I started thinking about was like, what is a cult like following, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
I started thinking about how you believe in something, and then all of a sudden, like you're starting to like cut off other opinions. You're cutting off that conversation. You're cutting off other
Mm-hmm.
ideas because you are just so enamored with this idea that you're blindly following. So I started thinking about it, and there's little things that we do, be it brand awareness, when we go into the store and we follow, and like we have to, like, say Coke and Pepsi. Somebody might be like at a restaurant, say, "Hey, can I have a Coke?" And they're like, "Oh, we only have Pepsi." They're not getting it because they're so like stuck on like Coke. Or it could be something bigger, like you're getting into with like pride, and it's really hard to draw a line when it's something so, I think personal is a good word. It's something so personal. So it's hard to draw a line, because at what point is it not okay for our children to be influenced by the pride movement? At what point is
Mm-hmm.
it not okay for our little boys and girls to, you know, have a third option that's like confusing them? Come on. Like, at the
Right.
end of the day, either you got a JJ or you got a dick. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel
I like.
that it's okay to have your
hold
beliefs. It's
on.
okay.
Hold on, time out, time out. I love how you had like a clean version for JJ, and then you just straight hardcore. Like you gotta have something else. You gotta have a clean. How you clean up one and don't clean up the other?
I don't know. There aren't many words that you could call it. Like it is what it is. Um, damn, you threw off my entire like thought process there. But yeah, like
Egg
oh my
roll,
god, this is
cannoli,
going in.
egg roll, cannoli, bologna, bologna pony. Mm.
Like at the end of
I
the day,
love it.
it's perfectly okay for everyone to have the ability to be happy, to do whatever the fuck they want, kind of thing. But at what point is it too much? And I think that's kind of where you're crossing into now. Like you're feeling like it is too much.
So, so let me give you an example. There was an article that came over the weekend, and I wish we could pull it up right now. Once again, anybody can fact check me, look it up. But it was an article that came over the weekend that it said I believe it was the Tampa Rays, which I'm gonna look it up right now. Before I talk to it, let me look it up so I'm not misquoting what came over the weekend. Okay.
So I read something online, and it was about you know a small town that they were celebrating. The LGBTQ community was celebrating because they were able to get into like the library, and they were gonna have like
Mm-hmm.
drag queen Tuesdays, where each week like there's a different drag queen, and they like read to the children.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me thinking because there's two sides to this. Like, are we really gonna say that dressing up isn't fun? Like I love cosplay. I love dressing up and going into
And
another
I
world and doing this.
totally
And
agree
you
with
know what?
you.
It's something that I share with my children. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and in a way, I am grooming them to be like different people, different thinkers. I'm grooming them to be like me. An essence of me, a reflection of
Mm-hmm.
me. So it's kind of hard to then try to have the thought of like, well, that's bad, you know? But as a parent, I feel as though like, well, shit, like that's not something I want to take my kid to.
But here's the thing, and here's a very fine line. It's a very fine line, and that's exactly what you're talking about. And this is where we gotta kind of agree. Like, look, there's a fine line between acceptance, which I think most people nowadays are very accepting with whatever you want to do with your
Accepting.
life. Right, between acceptance
Yeah.
and then the line, like here's all right, it's acceptance, and then past crossing the line is grooming. And I think we gotta address
Yeah,
that. We
you're
gotta
like
have those
pushing my
conversations.
beliefs
It's like,
onto you kind of thing.
right, right. So think about it. Think about it this way. If it is a cult, most cults to me, I believe, like cults is like a religion, right? Is
Mhm.
it at a point where pride and the LGBT community is becoming a religion? And if it's so becoming a religion, are you putting your religion onto people? And you're forcing people to believe in your religion, to believe in
Mhm.
your cult. Now, once again, I said, I'm only addressing where I see the fanaticness of it. Like it's becoming very
Right.
fanatic, and those are the things I want to address. I don't really want to address what anybody's sexual preference is. Like I said, I don't care. Like
Hmm.
just the same way I could be a freak in the bedroom and you guys don't care. It's like that's where I don't really care what you want to do. You want to go out, you want to have a good time. Look, I'll openly tell you, I have a gay best friend who, when he came to visit me, he was like, "Yo, I need you to be my wingman," and I was like, of course, I want you to get laid and have a good time. I like getting laid and having a good time, but I choose different people than you do. I get that.
Hmm.
I respect that. So when he came to visit me, we went to an openly gay bar, right? And I just went with him to keep him company. And he hooked up. I went home. I went to bed, and the very next morning I was like, "Yo, you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm good. I had a great night. Great, good,
Yeah.
perfect." Right? That's me as a friend. That's what I want to. And I know as if you had a girlfriend who was a lesbian, right?
Mhm.
Which you probably do. You probably
I
do
have,
have
yeah.
lesbian friends. And I guarantee you've been to the parades, you've been to, gay bars, you've been to all that
Mhm.
stuff out, have a good time, and you're embracing your friend for their individuality. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Just the same way, like,
Exactly.
I've had Indian friends who brought me into their culture, and I was like, "Yo, this is really cool." I had their food, I
Yeah.
had their culture. Like there was like I went. I had one friend, I believe he was Ethiopian, and he was like, "Yo, come on over. We're having a barbecue and everything." And we went there, and I was like, "Yo, where's the utensils at?" And he was like, "Oh, we don't do that. We have like we embrace
Mm.
our culture is to embrace our food, and we eat with our hands because it connects
Using
us
our
with the food."
hands.
So I was like, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yo, this is good." And then I think
Mm.
afterwards he was messing with me or something like that. But but I did it anyway. Look, I did it anyway, and that's just the way it is. It's like, look, I've been to so many places where I had a friend with a straight Southern accent in Texas who brought me to, country night, and we line
Mhm.
danced the night away, to a straight, Jamaican friend who took me to the Jamaican club and the beats were popping, and I was just reggae dancing. Oh, I'm an island boy, whatever. Listen,
Mhm.
I get it. Your individuality, embrace it. But at some point, when it becomes pop culture, which is what it is now, we got to address that. I feel like it's at a religious status in the same way that people are like, don't force feed me Christianity, don't feed me, Catholicism or whatever, don't feed me, Jewish religion, don't feed me all this stuff. I don't want. It's your religion, keep it over there. At some point, we got to address this and say, look, this is kind of like a religion at this point.
Mhm.
Like, there's a religious movement going on right now when it comes to, Pride Month and the LGBT community. Like, we got to talk about that. So there's a fine line. So let me go through the article that I was talking about, where it said, so there's the Tampa Bay Rays, which is a baseball team, right?
Mhm.
And several of the players came out and they said they were going to opt out of wearing rainbow hats and sleeve decals for Pride Night, right? And they cited religious belief. And of course, the media took this and a lot of articles came out and it made them seem like they were the bad guys. But it's like, if you don't
Right.
believe in something or you want to opt out on it, why are you the one that's branded, tarred, and feathered when this community
Mm.
should be about acceptance, when their whole thing was, hey, we were martyred, we were attacked, we didn't have the opportunity to be accepted in society.
Ooh, you're
So
cutting
then
out. You're
where's
cutting
your
out.
tolerance? Where is your tolerance and your acceptance when it comes to somebody who's like, look, I don't want to be part of this. I want to opt out. That's all they said. They didn't come out with nothing negative. They just said, I'm opting out. And now everybody's like
Yeah.
tar and feathering them. Like, no, you got to participate. So, what's your take
Yeah.
on that, Lynn? Did you hear me? You said I was cutting out. I'm not sure what you heard. Are you there? Have we lost you, Lynn?
Yeah.
I see you blinking.
Wow,
I see
that's
you blinking.
crazy. That's definitely a crazy story, and I'm glad you're like bringing it to our attention. Yeah, that's insane. There should be no issue with them opting out. Like it's one thing. It's one thing to speak out negatively. Yeah, we kind of got it. You kind of got brought back in at the end there.
Okay, good, good, good. All right. Are we having a time delay? I feel like you're like a little
How about
delayed.
now?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, technical issues.
Oh no.
Yeah, your video and audio is good.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. I'm just making sure that we're all good.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's my issue. And then if you notice, like as soon as June 1st hit, every company that is a company
Mhm.
um, changed their logos, right? Um, every video game, because I'm a big gamer. So like
Mhm.
Xbox accounts, they got like Master Chief is all rainbowed out. They got Forza race cars all rainbowed out. And the argument that I hear is like, well, if you don't want to partake in that, you don't have to. Don't download Master Chief. Don't get the car, right? I
Mhm.
will admit though, the car looks fire. The car looks fire. I gotta admit that. But they're like, hey, opt out of that. You don't want any of this stuff. Don't just opt out of it. It's not for you. But it's front and
Mhm.
center. It's front and center. And once again, it goes back to, is this a lifestyle or is it something your preference in the bedroom? Because once again, and I don't want my preference to be in the bedroom to be front and center, but it's just like, why is it front and center? Why is it so like the whole month everybody's partaking in it, right? Me and
Mhm.
the kids, we're big on Destiny. Boom, they got like a Destiny achievement badge, pride badge you can earn. There's like all this stuff, and I'm like, Why is it so
Honestly,
front and center?
the more you talk about it, the more I'm like starting to hear that it's really about the bottom line. It's about the money. Like we have a system of laissez-faire, hands off, like our like businesses can do whatever they want. And businesses are
Mm-hmm.
worried about the bottom line. And the fact is that the this community has a lot of purchasing power.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of purchasing power, and especially when there's two same sex adults living in the household, there's typically no children, they're both bringing in an income, they have more money to spend, so these businesses are catering to them, and it's becoming like something that they're just feeding off of. These businesses don't have our best intentions in mind. They're worried about, how am I going to make more money this year? So the more
You think
importance that they put on different things, it starts showing up everywhere. Now the news is talking about it. All the YouTube channels are talking about it. Everyone who's creating content is just trying to be, on trend.
so? Let me ask you. So that there's two parts. And now my mind is gearing up. So with
Mhm.
that said, once again, if there's money to be made, is it a cult?
Mm.
Be it a pop culture cult? Is this now the pop culture cult? It's like, hey,
Mhm.
if you are part of the alphabet community, you will make money. So really, you
Right,
don't believe in the movement. You're just trying to make money. Or here's the other thing I'm going to throw at you too. You keep hearing in society, you keep hearing go woke, go broke, right?
right,
So really, there isn't no money. The money's not really there. People get turned off when they feel like you're force feeding them agendas or message, right? So
hmm
if going woke doesn't really make money, why are these companies still pushing this agenda? So Fuzz said it's Agenda
because
21.
they're
These
doing it.
agendas
I feel
have
like
been
they're doing
planned
it in
for
a supportive
decades.
way, where the community feels as though they're being supported, not sold to.
Say that again. You were cutting in and out. Sorry.
No, sure, we're doing two things at once. Decades. I think I think what companies are doing is they're being perceived as being supportive. Like they
hmm
figured it out. They know the algorithm. They're creating this algorithm. They're they're showing up for this community in a supportive manner. So the community, it doesn't feel like they're being sold to. They feel as though they're being supported. So there is still money there.
hmm
To have a group of people who feel oppressed, and now they feel, um they feel that sense of freedom, that sense of like, hey, like I do belong here, I belong in this world, I have a community, and then for things to grow the way they are, they're feeling great right now. They're not realizing that, hey, maybe they are,
So
maybe they're not, because we don't know who's in control, but as a community, they're feeling like, hey, this is my time to shine.
so let me ask you this: who do you think is the most? Who do you think is the oppressed community right now? When you have when you have pretty much any company that's out there is changing their
Mm-hmm.
logos, right? Any company out there is tapping in, they're embracing you, they're celebrating Pride Month. I mean, you can't go through it like Amazon. I'm going through the whole thing. They're like, hey, watch Pride videos.
Yeah.
Hulu's doing it. Any company that's like a multi-million-dollar company and above, they're embracing it. So who's really oppressed right now? And then who, if you're being oppressed, right? What do you think you're gonna want to be a part of? Where the party's at, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's the way I see it. I see it like, if I was a person who was looking for acceptance, right now, like I said, I'm seeing the parties over here. I'm like, maybe I should join the party over there.
Yeah, I see what
I
you're
don't
saying.
know. I don't know. And then this goes back to where like you said earlier, where they had like the drag queen reading hours. And now I'll take that even a step further.
Hmm.
I've started seeing stories coming out where they have drag queen strippers, right? They're at a bar,
Hmm.
they're at a strip club, and there's little kids at this event, and there's little kids giving the dollars to the strippers. And there's
Holy
photos of
crap.
that. And
Holy
I'm
crap.
like, once again, are you in a cult and are you grooming kids?
Yeah.
And then this goes back to the whole thing with Florida having that Florida bill where they were
Hmm.
like, hey, don't talk about your sexuality to kids. And then the whole media blew it up. It was like, oh, don't say gay, don't say gay. You can't say the word. They banned the word in Florida, right? And it just turns out that these teachers who have been radicalized, who are part of this cult, are now trying to get new recruits into the cult. And that's why I'm calling it a cult, because really that's what it is. When you have a religion and when you have a cult, because Christianity is the same way. Christianity, there's a lot of people who believe that your mission as a Christian is to go and convert the rest and be like, have you found God? Have you been saved by God?
Yes.
And so the true diehard Christians are out there trying to recruit new people. And yet, when they do that, people are like, "Oh, that's a call. Stop trying to change me. Stop trying to convert my religion. What are you doing?"
Mhm.
But then you see this, every June. Here it comes, Pride Month, and then you see, all these news, all these articles, and it's like, what's going on? Should we, at this point, should we stop and we talk about this and say, "Hey, is this getting to a cult-like status?"
Yeah. No, I definitely understand what you're saying, and it makes perfect sense. Because it's true, and that's what I was saying too. Like, at what point is it too much? At what point is it
Yes,
you're trying to convert people,
right.
um, rather than just like accepting, teaching people how to accept themselves.
Exactly. Or
Mhm.
once again, I get it. I get the movement, and this could even go back to like feminism. Like
Well,
feminism could be a cult too, because
hmm.
remember, all these movements started, and I'll put the big three ones. I'll put feminism, right? Women's right, feminism. I'll put the next one as far as BLM, Black Lives Matters, right? And I'll put the next one LGBTQ, right? They all started with a fundamental movement. People were
Hmm.
being persecuted, right? People were being attacked. People were being killed. Whatever whatever history was shown, they were being attacked for who they were, right? Women were being attacked for being women. The black community was being attacked for being black, and the LGBTQ community was being attacked for being who they are. Right now, fast forward to this day and age, I think the acceptance is there. Granted, there's always going to be people who are racist, sexist, whatever you look. That's their prerogative. But the majority of the people are accepting. Society, it's okay to be who you want to be today. Now, when you keep pushing it past those levels, and that's the thing that we were talking about last show was how much more rights do women want? It's the same thing. At some point, you got to realize you achieved the goal you wanted, but when you keep going, because it's $1 billion industry, should it be regulated as an industry? And should we now address it and say, look, this is not about the movement anymore. You guys are facilitating this narrative so that you could keep, like you said, your money coming in, and then we should label what you guys are. You guys are a church. You guys are a cult. You guys are a religion. I think that's what we got to address. Everybody else who are like, look, you guys got it. You guys already got what you wanted. You guys are now a religion. We could label. Look, we'll label Al Qaeda, and they'll be like, oh my God, they're terrorist extreme. But we won't label BLM, who
Yeah.
had the summer of 2020, where they caused what $1 billion of destruction and killed like what, I don't know, 30, 50 people with all their protesting and all the mob mentality, right, and all the destruction they did. We don't call that out. So when do we address all this and say, hey, are you guys in a cult?
Mm.
So going to one
Excellent
of Fuzz's
question, Greg.
comments, going to one of Fuzz's comments, he said kids are getting hormone therapy without parental consent. Yes, yes. And I looked more into what Fuzz was talking about the last episode, as far as boys getting castrated, and he's right. He's right. They're getting what's it called? Like puberty blockers, pretty much. That's what it is. Like when you going they're stopping you from becoming who you're supposed to be. And it's
But
like you could say, and it's weird because it's all like um it's very hypocritical, because you could say a kid could decide at a very young age, oh hey, I want to be a boy, I want to be a girl, I identify as this, I identify as this. A kid doesn't know what they want. It's the reason why the
Hmm.
legal age to do anything is what, 18? Some now the ages they want to turn
17,
it up to 21.
18, one of them.
Like 21, 2021 is the age to drink. They're trying to put a bill now to say that 21 is they're
Yeah.
going to be the age to own a gun. And I'll say, look, take it one step further. 21 should be the age to
Mm.
vote. 21 should be the age for anything. And 21 should be the age to say, hey, I want to change my sex. Not 5. Come on. So
I
if
definitely
you
agree
want to
with
talk,
that. I mean, my as a parent, like this is an argument I have all the time because my children do not know what's best for them. They don't,
exactly.
Otherwise,
They
they would
don't.
be, able to, fend for themselves. They're not. They're children. If you let a child, they'll eat nothing but ice cream. They'll
Right.
stay up till 3 in the morning.
Not to
They're
mention
gonna do
that
what they
the
think is
things,
fun, what they perceive as fun.
right. And not to mention that the person you were at 7 is not the same person you were at 12. It's not the same person you were at 17. It's
Mhm.
definitely not the same person you are at 27. So I don't understand how these people can be okay. And there's doctors signing off on this saying,
Right.
yeah, let's change this kid's sex at the age of 5 when they're 15, 10 years later, they're going to be like, I kind of want to be a boy again. Like, I don't understand that. I really
Hmm.
don't. And it's like you're gonna say it's okay for a 12-year-old to decide I want to be a boy or a girl, whatever they want to be, but then yet go on the same thing and say, oh, a 12-year-old can't be having sex. So if a 12-year-old can't be having sex, then a
Hmm.
12-year-old shouldn't be having a sex change.
Why do they need the sex organs?
Right.
Hello.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And
Hmm.
this is where, like, I'm telling you, we gotta start having these conversations because I feel like a lot of people are scared because they're like, if I speak up, then I'm gonna be the one labeled. Because there's a lot of
You're
labels
gonna
going around. And
get
I guaranteed
canceled.
I know all the labels I'm gonna get. But you know
Yeah.
what? We gotta have those conversations because common sense gotta prevail. And this is like a clown world that we're living in. And it's not. I'm not saying it's a clown world with people who
Hmm.
do want to decide that they want to change their sex later when they're an adult. That you look. I want you to feel comfortable in your skin. Do what you want to do. What I'm saying is a clown world is when you think that a 5-year-old can decide what they want to do, and the courts and doctors and all
Right.
these experts that they say trust are all signing off on it. That's the thing that's mind-boggling. Because I guarantee that if you looked at the parent who's pushing for this, I guarantee that there's something wrong in their head and they're only trying to be part of what is it? Be part of the cult.
Mm. Yeah. Ooh. A lot of tough questions today.
Now, if I'm ranting, say, Ray, you ranting because you know you'll let me go. But I'm
No,
like,
but keep
listen,
going.
these
Keep
are things
going. I
I'm
love
going to talk about.
your trail of thought.
You know, you hear all this stuff and it's very alarming. And not only is it alarming, as a father, of 3 boys, it's kind of scary. Because
Hmm.
once again, I'm like, I'm raising my boys to say, hey, it's okay to be a man. Embrace being a man. It's wonderful. It's awesome. Tap into your masculinity. But now society's like, oh, that's toxic.
Hmm.
Or then society's like, hey, you know what? I know you have your natural urges to like women, but yo, it's cool to like dudes. Come on over. It's like,
Hmm.
once again, if they naturally came to that determination, I'd be all about it. I love them for whoever they are. But I don't want them to be forced into it because that's what pop culture is showing and that's what's popular. Now, once again, I'm also raising my
Right.
boys not to worry about being popular. I'm telling them that it's okay to be weird. It's okay to be an individual. Embrace who you are, no matter if the biggest thing that I teach them too is to think outside the box. I've always told them, like, look, everything I've done in my life,
Hmm.
I've been blessed in the sense because I've thought outside the box. So I've always taught them that to kind of like, even with like the sports they play, you know, um, they asked me, they were like, why did you want us to play soccer? And I was like, because soccer is a dope ass sport, first off. Second off,
Hmm.
it's just, I wanted you guys to think out of the box. What are we going to do? Play the top three that everybody does: basketball, football, baseball, and go with the flow?
Hmm.
Or would you want to go with something that not many people do and be kind of like that rebel, right? Be that soccer hooligan. Oh, it's so much fun. Go against the grain, right? And so they embraced it and they did it. And then it turns out, guess what? Soccer is the biggest sport in the world.
Yeah.
Who are the most played athletes in the world? Soccer players, right?
Soccer players. Yeah.
So But nobody would get to that point, at least here in the States, in America, if they kept going with what everybody else is doing. You know? It's like that same argument I have about college. I'm like, yo, don't believe the hype of what everybody's saying. College is a bad idea. It's a very bad idea. You know, think outside the box. If you don't want to go to college, how else are you going to make money? And I keep asking them that. How else? Oh, yeah, I can learn a trade. Yeah, learn a trade.
And
I could be an
thinking
electrician. I
outside the
could be a
box is what'll
carpenter.
keep you from, falling into a cult. Because
Yes.
when you're in the cult, you blindly follow whatever you're being
Hmm.
told. Versus thinking outside the box and saying, wait a minute, like most of the stuff you say is all right, but that right there, I'm gonna question that. You're teaching them those tools to protect themselves, really.
And what I've noticed with a lot of these people who will just so a lot of people tend to virtual signal, right? A lot of people be like, whatever is going on, I'm gonna show my support. So you know who these
Hmm.
people are because they changed their photo to a black image when it was all about BLM, right?
Hmm.
They changed their photos to wear your mask when it was all about Kofifi, right? And then recently they all changed their photos to the Ukrainian flag, right?
Hmm.
Ukraine flag when Russia invaded. However, these are the same people who will celebrate Pride Month, but if you look at Ukraine, Ukraine has being openly gay in Ukraine is illegal.
Hmm.
So I don't understand that. It's like, are you for the LGBT community? Then why are you also got a Ukraine flag? Because these people don't understand what they're standing by. They're just
No, they're
going with
just kind of
whatever people are
jumping on
telling them.
whatever the current event is.
Yes, right, right. And so then you got to
Yeah,
ask yourself, are you part of that cult? How do we wake you up and say, listen, think for yourself, be a free
yeah.
thinker,
And it comes back
research
to
what you're
like
getting
you either
into.
you either have to know what you stand for or you'll fall for anything.
Exactly.
Know
Exactly, Lynn.
what's truly
Perfectly
in your
said.
heart, what your beliefs are.
That should be a t-shirt. Boom. Because it's whatever the calls may be, and then come next month, 2 months from now, there'll be another calls, and people will go blindly going with it because everybody's talking about it, the news is talking about it, everybody's talking about it. But it could go against your very own values, your own very own beliefs. But you're virtually signaling you're going on that bandwagon because it's the thing to do. It's what pop culture says we got to do. All right, I'm ranting, Lynn. Go ahead, take over the show now.
Yeah.
But
Let Lynn take over the show.
let Lynn take over because you know what, you're my voice of positivity, and we got to keep the show
Hmm.
positive. Sometimes I do feel like I'm coming off negative, and that's not my intentions. I just
So
want to address
I know
the
I kind of
issues.
want to bring it back. I want to bring it back to the topic, which is, are you in a cult? I feel like we went off on a rant about LGBTQ community and pride. But
Hmm.
let's just talk about cults in general because there are so many
Right.
other of them. Like, let's get into some of them.
Okay.
You have a list,
So,
right?
hmm? Go
So you
ahead,
have a
name a
list,
few.
right?
Oh, I think I named. I pretty much named it. The ones I know. I know there's. Listen, I could go. I might be what some people might call conservative nowadays. I really don't have any label. I'll tell you right now, most of the time, most of the people I voted for growing up, I was Democratic, right? I voted for, um, I voted for Kerry back in the day against Bush, right? I voted for Obama, at least for his first term, because I did believe in his whole message of change. And then once
Mm-hmm.
I found out like he lied, I didn't vote for Trump the first time. I didn't vote that for anybody. I was like, you know what, I'm done. And then when I noticed during Trump's term, as far as like how he was being, like how the media would take what he would say and they would manipulate and change all that to make him look bad. And it was just like there was something there. And so
Yeah.
this last election, 2020, I did vote for Trump. However, I wouldn't label myself a Republican because there's a lot of Republicans that I can't stand because they say one thing and then once again they go with they call them rhinos, right? They go with whatever them say.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that there's another cult that is, MAGA. like the whole MAGA thing and the whole Pride Boys and all that stuff. Those I would say those are cults because I'm not out there. I would not be out there protesting. But I get what it is. It's like a counter cult to the ongoing cult, right? So when
Hmm.
you have like BLM that's coming out and they see this outrageousness and nobody's talking about it in the news, then you start developing these like counter cults that come out and they're like present forward, like just fighting at each other, right?
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know where most people fit because I think some people are like kind of like they don't want to speak up. They don't want to speak up as far as what's all going on out there, but they don't want to also be labeled, right? They don't
Right.
be like, man, I don't really this is crazy what BLM is doing, but if I speak out publicly, I'm gonna be labeled MAGA, and I don't want to be part of that either. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And I
So
mean,
I think
politics is another cult. Where you jump on one side and then you just refuse to see like the viewpoints from the other side because you're just so caught up with what your side is pushing. And same thing with media, like you choose your media outlet and you kind of
mhm,
create like a cult following with that because you're listening to their opinions and their side. If you watch only CNN for your news, you're only hearing
that's a
CNN
cult.
side.
Right,
Yeah,
that's a cult. If you wanna talk about the big cults, yo,
hmm
the media right now is a cult. It's not the news anymore. We call it all the time we call them content creators, right? Because that's what it is. They have opinions. They're not telling you facts anymore. They're telling you their opinions on the facts. And the
yeah.
reality is, if you're watching CNN nonstop, you are in a cult. You are exactly. There's a reason why it's called programming. They are
hmm
programming you, right? What was it back in the day? Oh, tonight's program tonight, right? That's literally
hmm
what they're doing. They're programming you.
Yeah, and it brings it right back to what I said before, that if you're whatever you're following, whatever content that you're consuming, that's where you're developing your ideas from.
Exactly.
I saw an awesome quote. It was like, fill your imagination or someone else will.
Yes. Yes.
Everything
That's a
that
good
we're
saying
consuming,
too.
all it's doing, it's creating like this loop in our mind, and that's the life that we're choosing
You
to
you
live.
need You need to write down all these home runs you've been hitting today. There's two of them right now. Shit. I'm like, damn,
you know,
you're winning this one with these home runs. Say that again. Say it again so we can capture it. Say it again.
um, fill your imagination or someone else
Hmm.
will.
Exactly. And then what was the other one you're saying? Know what you believe in, or you'll believe anything.
Yeah, know what you believe or you'll stand for it. I mean, know what you stand for or you'll fall for anything.
Exactly. I knew Mom was going
Uh,
to jump on here eventually. I'm putting on my socks now. I had them here. I was like, shoot, I gotta put these on. I gotta
I
show
am
them
in a
because she asked
beautiful
last
color.
time.
I think I'm in the town of Walkill, not the town of Walkill, like Walkill. I don't know. I'm like 20 minutes from home.
Oh, okay, that's good. But you know
Yeah.
what? At least you're out. That's good because a lot of
hmm
people just don't go out. And you know
Yeah.
what thing that really like it's crazy when people actually it's a beautiful day like today and
hmm
they'll go to like the local gym just so they can go on the treadmill. When it's like just
hmm
go outside. Go for your run outside. Go for your walk outside. Embrace nature, man.
I mean,
So
if that's what they need, though, then let them be on their repetitive habit. Like, at least they're moving. At least they're getting,
listen, you're
the
right. You're right.
exercise in,
As long
man.
as they're exercising, but I'm like, I feel
Maybe if they
I
change
feel like
up
just some
today,
people
then
are
tomorrow
just
they're not going to go to the gym. They have their processes.
yeah. So Fuzz, let's go through some of the comments.
All
Fuzz
right.
said, Ray, check out this Netflix movie called Jana Gana Mana. The film puts a mirror to your face and makes you reevaluate your values. Ooh, that's a good one. All right.
Hmm.
Netflix. All right. So I'm gonna try to see if I can find that. See, I love Fuzz because he always gives me homework, and I go and I try to do my homework. For the most part, I do. I do. I try to go back, even if it may be a little bit after like two episodes later or something like that. But I try to fit it in. So let me write that down so that way I can. But we are on the top of the hour, Lynn. If you want to go ahead and reintroduce the show.
All right.
Lynn's
For those of you
did
who
we
are
lose Lynn?
just tuning in, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for watching. Welcome to the channel, Sibling Rivalry. I'm Lynn. This is Ray over here. We're siblings, and we come on live twice a week, and we have the conversations that need to be had. You know, like tune in, give us content ideas, let us know your opinion, and we're gonna be here to listen, to make sure that you feel heard, and to help connect you with the answers that you might be looking for.
So with that said, Lynn, do you want to drop the link below? I don't know. Do you feel like we got the connection today to get somebody on the show? If anybody wants to call and talk about, because we said a lot. So if anybody wants to disagree, agree, disagree, let's debate. Let's keep it clean. That's all we ask. Is keep it clean. Keep it. Add something to the conversation. If you want to add something to the conversation, bring it to the. Drop the link. Lynn's like, how do I do that? I forgot you don't have your lappy. Can you do it?
Yeah. Let's see.
All right. If you can't do it, then no one scratch that. We'll do it next episode. I'm also gonna take this second because on the request of my mother, I am gonna show my socks. What's the
Oh,
heat on
you're
the
cutting out
feet?
again.
Hashtag heat on the feet. I'm cutting out. Can you hear me? All right. So I'm gonna come over here. All right. So can you see them?
You're getting really choppy. Maybe I'm choppy.
Can you see the
Maybe
heat
it's
on the
my
feet?
service. I don't know. Bear with us, guys. It'll clear up in a couple minutes. Oh, we're missing the heat on the feet. I'm missing the heat on the feet. Yeah, you are.
You got it.
We can hear you, but you're freezing up.
Did you notice the heat on the feet? Did you see what cartoon that was?
No, we didn't see it.
No. What are you talking about?
Oh, your video. Oh, for me, your video and audio is not good. All right, so I'm missing the heat on the feet. They're seeing it.
Okay, all right, good. As long as mom got to see the heat on the feet, because she believes. Look, she believes in that segment, and so we're gonna keep it going.
Hmm.
And I love it because now I got like crazy ass socks. I go everywhere. I go friends' house, and they're like, "Yo, what's up with your socks?" I'm like, "What? I love my socks." And then listen. I love it because it makes people laugh. And like I said, I'm all about power positivity. It's a white dog.
The
Yeah,
white
it's Rocco. It was
courage.
Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh, courage is purple.
Yo, you know what? Listen, I'm in the generation that was Rocco. If you don't know Rocco and you know Courage, then hey, it could be Courage too. Listen, we're talking to
I do
multi
Rocco.
generations, man.
Rocco's modern life.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's my Nickelodeon socks. I love it. Love coming into
Right?
a room and everybody's like, "Yo, what up is with those socks?" And they start laughing. And you know what? I made them smile, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
power of positivity. And that's the things that I want to. We gotta keep touting that message too. I know we came hard this morning, and we're gonna be coming hard on a lot of these episodes. But at the end of the day, I don't have a bitter heart. I love everybody. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things that I don't like that certain evil people are doing,
Yeah.
and
And that's
they're
cool
preying on
too. Like
innocent
being
people.
able to, being able to not just express your beliefs, but to also be supportive of other people and what they want to do, while still
Yes,
being able to have these hard conversations, still being able to say like, "Hey, we need to question this because why isn't this coming to
yes,
light?"
yes. I'm not gonna be one of these crazy people out here that like listen, there's some people who are going against feminism and they're like, oh, feminism and it's evil. And it's good because I started seeing a lot of channels are starting to talk about feminism and how bad it is in this day and age and how
Mm-hmm.
it's causing toxic femininity. If anything, you're seeing more toxic femininity than you actually are seeing of toxic masculinity. Because
Mm-hmm.
men are shamed. We have been shamed by the media, by pop culture, by everything, by society. So most men are kind of scared of being masculine. Whereas women have no shame because there's no safeties. And more people are talking about that. However, I'm not going to be like the extreme where some people are like, oh, take women's rights away and all this. No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Like, listen, we are, we all should have equal rights, but we're not equal. And we got to acknowledge that we're all different. We're all different. We're all individuals, and that's okay. That's okay. but don't force feed me anything that I don't want to believe in, or I not even believe in,
Hmm.
or I just don't want to be. Don't force feed me into anything I don't want to be. And I think that's really what we're talking about. It's like, look, we're calling out the BS that's out there. Like, look, this might be a little evil. You might be trending on the line of evil if you're trying to manipulate people's belief by making it seem like this is the popular route.
Hmm.
If that makes any sense.
So my
All
connection's
right, then.
really
So,
choppy.
did you want to cut this one short because of your connection?
Mm, no, let's go a little longer.
Okay. So, with the topic, I kind of let out my rant. Do you have anything like that you perceived or you've seen that is a cult? Even if you want to talk about religion, if you want to talk about just anything that you believe that you see in today's day and age that you think that some say they want civil war. Thanks, cult. Yes, and actually, it's both sides, and this is why
Hmm.
like it's hard to say politics is politics anymore. Politics is actually the mainstream narrative, and politics is pop culture now. So we got to acknowledge that. And when you see all these pollings that are coming out, the, it's the left that are calling for a civil war, and it's also the right that's calling for a civil war. So if that's the case, I would believe that we are in a modern day civil war, and it's being fought right now through what? Our phones, the internet, by
Yeah,
what
the
is
media.
perceived as social culture. And whoever
Yeah, as like
prevails
what
right now
is
between the left and
what
right,
our society is accepting as the norm. You know
yes,
what
yes,
and because when you don't go with what society is calling the norm, then
you be ostracized,
yeah, like, and they take it to such an
right?
extreme level.
And I
It's
think
almost as though
that
you're
that
not
goes
allowed to
back
have your own
to
thoughts. You're not allowed to be free thinkers.
right, and the one who are the free thinkers who are loud enough. What are they? What's happening? They're getting canceled, right? We have the
Hmm.
cancel culture that's moving, and they are also getting silenced. As you see, they're getting ousted on all these platforms, right?
Hmm.
You see, that's the reason why Elon Musk stepped up and was like, "Yo, I'm going to buy Twitter because freedom of speech," right?
It's
And
modern day
you,
book burning. Like when they
it
start
is,
blocking you
it
on
is.
social media and taking down your content. It's a modern day book burning.
I would even take it one step further. It's modern day witch hunt.
Mm.
At this point, it's a modern day witch hunt. It's like, are you a conservative? Are you alt right? Burn him at the stake,
Hmm.
cancel him. That's what cancel
Yeah.
culture is. And I was actually shocked. I was shocked that Netflix, once again, going back to the whole, go woke, go broke, that
Hmm.
Netflix actually stood by Dave Chappelle, right?
Yeah.
After his, attack on trans and the whole trans movement. And they were like, look, they put out that memo. They were like, look, we're going to stand by our content creators. If you don't like what they're putting out, maybe you shouldn't work here. And I was like, wow. But they also had to lose a lot of subscribers, right? Before they realized,
Right.
hmm. And mind you, Netflix is still woke. Netflix is still woke. All their woke content is on there. They have crazy shows that are on there. There's one movie on there that's sexualizing little kids. There's a movie
Hmm.
out there. I don't know if you heard of it, Lynn. It's called Cuties, and there's these little
Okay.
girls that are on there that's working.
I thought it was like a
It's
full season of it. It was a movie.
it was a movie. It was a movie, and it was
Okay.
these little girls just twerking around and all this stuff. So
Mm.
once again, they're grooming, and I don't. Oh, you want to know? All right, here's another cult. Do you think the fact that our society has heavily embraced being over sexualized? Do you feel like that's a cult as well?
Mm. I feel like any kind of content that you're consuming should be considered a cult. Because it's not just the music that's hyper sexualized. It's everything about our society. It's
Well, it's
what they're portraying to us in shows and movies. It's in the music. They're trying to push it into the schools, and
Mm-hmm.
even like our drugs. Like when you look at ads, you see the Viagra ads. You see the ads that are like, hey, like men, you have to be able to perform.
Right.
Um, with our online dating culture and Tinder, it's easier
Well,
for
yeah, the
people
whole
to,
hookup
just
culture
be
and dating,
crazy. Yeah,
like
it is.
literally
It's definitely a
dating
toll.
is.
And it sucks to call it that because there's such a negative connotation with the word cult. So it automatically turns people away. But the fact
Mm-hmm.
is that if you're just jumping on the bandwagon, you're joining a cult ultimately.
Because it's funny too because like I know when I go out with my friends, a lot of them are asking me like, "Yo, Ray, we don't ever see you. You're not approaching. You're not dating. Why are you not doing any of this?" And it's because I'm not built for the dating scene today.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, I what if there's anything I miss the long term relationship. I miss just being with one person, and society's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to dedicate myself to somebody who's now looking for the next person, right? And just keep on.
You're just setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up to get hurt, to be disappointed.
Nuts. Some chicks chained her body to the tennis net. Oh yeah, I saw that. And I saw the meme. They were like, they should just keep playing and keep just dinging her with the tennis ball.
Oh, jeez.
so, so the big so the tennis, what was it, the French Open? I don't know if it's like. Correct me if I'm wrong, Fuzz, but is that like their Super Bowl for the tennis? Is like the very final game? Is that what she changed herself at? Well, it was the big. So the net, right? She changed herself to one of the posts, and so
Okay.
they took the photo of her, and she's like, like I think she had like a thing around her neck to the post and everything, and they
Hmm.
were like, "Yo, if she wants to do that, just play the
No
game, and just keep hitting her
way.
with the tennis ball." I was all for that. I was like, "Yeah," but yeah, once again, like you know, when you believe in something so adamant, right?
Hmm.
That you do fanatic things, right?
Oh, this is a
Because
good one too. Hmm.
yeah, yeah, I would say that too. What's let's talk about some of the fun cults. What about the ones you heard about the furries, the guys who dress up, the guys and girls who dress up in full like uh
Like
costumes?
puppy suits? What the hell?
Yeah, like dress up in like full on costumes. It could be like a dog or whatever, and then they
Uh
all
huh.
go like they'll rent out like a convention center or like a room in like the hotel, like a big convention
Oh, like
hall
a
and like a
mascot
hotel.
convention.
No, not a mascot. Well, they look like mascots, but it's called furry conventions because they all go and then they're just all like hooking up. It's like a big orgy, but they're all dressed up
What
in these
the
like
fuck?
furry suits. Yeah,
What?
yeah. I saw it. I saw it was. Well, I was first introduced to it in it was a TV show. It was like one of the TV shows where, kind of like the shows like you like to watch, where there's like a murder that happens, and
Hmm.
every week is like a different murder, and they gotta solve it. Well, the
Yeah.
show started like that, and they had this convention, and somebody died, and so the detective had to figure it out. But it was like really hard because nobody knew. Like everybody was like, "Well, yeah, I was there, but I just saw like a wolf and a dog and
Right.
and a bunny, and I don't know. The bunny walked out. I don't know. Like it was crazy. So it was crazy that they were trying to like figure out this murder, but it was all these furry suits. But yeah, so that's a cult. Cleaning
Yep.
and disinfecting cults. Everything is racist cult. Is legalized weed a cult? I think you know what I think some of the stuff that we mentioned could go to either just a mental illness. It could also be something fandom. Like I listen, I'm a fan,
Uh,
and I know that there's some people that are like really like fanatic about certain things, right? Like Star Wars. You can argue that the people who are super fanatic of Star Wars, that's a Star Wars cult,
that's a
right?
cult. Yeah,
I think it's more of a cult when you start going out there to try to recruit people.
I agree.
I think at that point, when you start trying to recruit, then that's like a thin line between being a religion and a
Mm.
cult.
Yep.
I think when you just enjoying what you want to do and you're just out there doing it, you're a fan. When you
Hmm.
take it to the limits, like that lady chaining herself for climate change, you're a fanatic. But when
Hmm.
you start going out there, like actively grooming and trying to recruit and enlarge your following, I think that's when you're in a cult.
Hmm.
That's maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I might be, that's just my belief. That's what I believe.
No, I think that kind of like encompasses everything we were um like trying to get across today.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if there's because the last comment Fuzz put is legalized weed a cult, and we talked about this when we went to the cafe that we went
Hmm.
to, and I was like, look, I love the subcultures of our society. Like I love the subcultures. We spoke about this before too, where like the sneakerheads. The
Hmm.
sneakerheads, and they just go and they're like constantly trying to find that pair of Jordans, and they're trading and they're doing all this. And there was actually a TV show on Netflix called Sneakerheads, and it kind of introduced me to this whole thing. And I did some research, and sure enough, it's a whole subculture. Just like there's
Hmm.
like a whole subculture when it comes to like skateboarding and all of that. Like
Yeah.
there's like different terminology, and I love those subcultures because you hear the stories.
Surfers.
Surfers, right, right. Going back to the tattoo artist,
Hmm.
there's a commercial where this guy, I think his name was like Cartoon Machado or something like that. He
Hmm.
um he started out as a tattoo artist, and next thing you know, he's doing like artwork on cars, and like now he's like he became Hollywood. Like big Hollywood actors are looking for him, and he's like big, right? He's getting
Hmm.
sponsored, he's getting funded, and that's dope. I encourage those kind
People
of
and
things.
their pets.
People with their passion that are following their passion and they're thinking outside the box and then they're embracing their passion and they're making a career out of it. I
Hmm.
love those things. I love hearing those stories, right? I love hearing the stories of subcultures. One thing I love um, is street art,
Hmm.
graffiti, street art, whatever you want to call it. So when I go around, my eyes are always looking for that. I love taking the photos. I post it on my Instagram. I fucking love that shit. Like I want to get into that whole subculture, right? But
Hmm.
once again, I'm not trying to recruit people. And I think that's the thing that we got to kind of like call out. Like, yo, hold up. I don't think you're trying to be accepted anymore. I think you're trying to take power and trying to make people, you're trying to convert people.
Mm.
You're trying to change the way people think now? I
Yeah.
think that's at some point that's where we gotta, and once again, all this stuff teeters the line, right? It's like, when does it become, fandom and a cult, right? So yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. Where do we go from here then? What do you think?
No, I think we can close it right from there. My allergies are kicking my butt right now.
I see that. I see that. That's why I was like, yo, it was like good. This is all like, oh, this is so great. I could be connected. I could be on the internet and do the show from anywhere. I need some me time. I need to go out in
Hmm.
nature. And then Fuzz is out. And yeah, see what nature does? Nature kicks your ass. It's hilarious. And it's like, oh, my allergies, my allergies. Oh. Well, unfortunately, we gotta cut this episode short because Lynn can't see. Lynn can't stop sneezing. Lynn has to go back indoors.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Another great episode. Um, if you watch this after the fact, go ahead and comment down below also. You can still add to the topic, and we can always bring topics back up in later episodes too. All right, guys, don't forget to
Thank you for watching.
subscribe. We're trying to get those
Right,
numbers
right.
up.
Like, yeah, we gotta give you. They say, look, one of the things they say is like, yo, you gotta task your followers. You gotta call to action. So our call to
Hmm.
action is a like, comment, subscribe. Click the little bell so you can be
You're supposed to
notified
only
when we
choose
go
one
live.
because people get confused and then they don't do any. You're supposed to
Oh,
choose
too
one.
much? Oh,
Choose
good, too
one.
much? Okay, okay, too
What
much,
you
too much,
do?
too much.
Boom.
Okay, I give it too much. Ah, damn, I dropped the ball again. Damn. Oh, this YouTube stuff, it's complicated.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
Hey, love you guys. Be safe,
Have a
and we'll
nice
see
hump
you on
day.
Thursday.